Let's move on. Let's now turn our attention to UFC Fight Night. Muniz versus Allen from this past weekend at the UFC Apex. Let's talk about this main event. In the middleweight division, Brendan Allen gets the biggest win of his career. Oh, real quick, let's talk about why that was the main event.
True.
Yeah, because Krylov got sick, right? He got a stomach virus?
I think he got food poisoning or something.
Yep, that's what it was. Food
And so
poisoning.
the main event got scrapped. Sorry, Ryan Spann. And the co-main moved up into the main event slot. So middleweights, Brendan Allen and Andre Muniz faced off. And Brendan Allen gets the biggest win of his career thus far by getting a submission win over Andre Muniz in the third round, coming at 4 minutes and 25 seconds. Mark, let's start with you. Give us your reaction. You've been on the Brendan Allen train for a little bit now. You proud of your guy? Let us know.
And then I didn't pick him though, which doesn't make me look so good. But I'll
Muniz
get
is a
to
monster.
that. Huge win for him. I am so mad I didn't pick him. This was really competitive in round one in the striking. I thought they were each landing some big clean shots. I thought Muniz actually looked pretty good striking. Then Allen ends up on top by the time round one ends. He does totally fine for about a minute in Muniz's guard. He moves to side control, scores some points there. And already you're kind of like, wow, like, all right, that didn't seem too hard. Then we get to round two, and Brendan Allen fucking works Andre Muniz on the ground. He works him. Like, it wasn't close. Muniz wasn't even defending well. He wasn't threatening with anything. I think I'm ready to say that we have been hoodwinked and bamboozled by Andre Muniz into thinking that he had some elite jiu-jitsu game. Like, yes, he subbed Fabinski, okay. He subbed Eric Anders, okay. I think that sub of Jacare kind of fooled us all into thinking this man is more elite than he is. I understand he's a black belt. I'm not trying to say he's like not that. But I think it was a bit of a mirage. Like, think about it now. We thought he looked off against Uriah Hall. I don't think that he was now. I think his ground game is just not what we thought it was. And I think that Jacare finish kind of tricked us into thinking this man was like the next Jacare or the next Damian Maia. And he is not. He didn't look like he was even on Brendan Allen's level on the mat. Allen worked him. He's not supposed to be doing that if Muniz is the grappler that he has been billed as, that we thought he was. So I think he got exposed here. I think we found out that he is not that guy. And I think that either way, it is still a huge win for Brendan Allen. He certainly announced himself. He got the main event shine. Happy to see that. Really excited to see what he does next. But, yeah, my main takeaway was just I think we were fooled by Andre Muniz.
Omar, let me throw it over to you. Give us your take of Brendan Allen getting it done over Andre Muniz.
Goes to show you can't trust me. Fucking believe anything. Because I was looking at that fight like, God damn. Brendan Allen's top game must be fucking crazy. Like if he's doing this to Muniz, he must have some crazy ass pressure from the top. But
I think that's probably valid too. But if you
Mark's
just
like,
look at how Muniz was moving, it was like, I don't know.
Did we all pick Muniz? I'm pretty sure I did.
You picked Allen, dude.
Oh, shit. Look at me.
Congratulations.
Sorry, Omar. Go ahead.
No, dude, it was a good fight, man. And honestly, by the time I was done with it, I knew I had picked Muniz, but shit, I was happy for Allen, man. I was very happy for Allen. I thought it was a great performance, a hell of a way to capitalize on a very rare opportunity to just kind of pop up, right? Like, co-main event on a card no one really gave that big of a shit about. But then, the main event happens or doesn't happen. I felt bad for Spann. Spann looked like he took it real hard. And Brendan Allen gets to take the top spot and puts on an absolute performance that you could replay over and over again. So I was happy for him, man. I really was.
He was scaring me a little bit because Muniz was landing some bombs, I believe, in the third round. Am I right?
First round.
First round as well?
It only went 2 rounds. It was over midway through the second round.
No, third
No,
round.
it went 3 rounds.
Am I drunk? That was the third
That's what
round that he
says
subbed him
on-
in?
Yeah.
You're drunk.
Oh, shit. So I'm blending
Either
rounds.
way,
Okay.
throughout that fight, on the feet, I thought that Muniz was looking pretty good. And Muniz also,
Yeah, I agree.
is it me? I feel like Andre Muniz has the frame. Like, if he wanted to go become a bodybuilder and compete in the Olympia, his frame would fucking blow up. Because the man is, he seems massive.
See,
Like,
I
Brendan
wonder
Allen
if
seems
that's
like a regular guy in shape.
I wonder if that's good, if that's really what the issue is, right? Like, is Andre Muniz relying more on his strength and his technique? Is he gassing more because he looks like a goddamn Adonis? Like, does he need to tone it down a little bit
Yeah,
more
he's-
and like focus
he's a
on the
great
endurance
physique
more
overall.
than the strength?
Just like his
But if he's-
shoulders are like so wide. Like, he just has this
Yeah.
massive frame.
But if he tries to muscle everything and he's not using his technique on the ground, he's not going to be doing much, especially when guys are using technique. And Brendan Allen is not a small dude. Like, you gotta use your brain for those moments, man.
It could be a factor because you look back at his 3 submission wins in the UFC, they're all first round. So maybe he's that guy. Maybe he's the guy that you make him go past 5 minutes and the game's not quite there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, let's move on now to, or you want to talk about what's next for Brendan Allen, the winner? Mark, you got a name for me? If you're the matchmaker of the UFC, put on that hat. Tell me what you would do with Brendan Allen next.
It's not my favorite name in the world, but I think it's probably what makes sense. I really wanted to give him someone sexier, but I just there's a lot of guys matched up. I feel like I couldn't justify some of it. So my answer is going to be Jack Hermanson. I feel like it's an appropriate enough next step for Brendan Allen where if he got that W, he would be firmly into some big fights.
Another guy with strong grappling skills.
Yeah.
Big test. What about you, Omar? Any other names?
I don't know if these guys have. I can't remember if they have anything scheduled or not. I don't think that they do.
They probably do. All these middleweights do.
But I was looking at Roman Delites
Vittori.
as the next one. Vittori
That's who he's fighting, yeah. Yeah.
and Brunson. What about Brunson?
We're previewing him in fucking 20 more minutes, dude.
See?
Dude, Deletes is fucking terrifying. Isn't he terrifying?
So we'll take Hermanson then, I guess. There's not really many options up there without bumping him all the way to the top at this point.
Yeah, I agree. I want to put Muniz in there with someone who can grapple. So I was actually looking at Kyle Bahalio, who is fighting
Nice.
Michal Olashejuk. If he wins that fight, that's where I want to go. I want to see Muniz in there with another guy that can grapple, see if he gets exposed again, and then I freaking take my take and I stamp it.
I thought Delites would be a good test in that regard as well, because I thought he's a really good grappler, and his pace is crazy as
but
fuck.
Muniz ain't deserving deletes right now.
Well, oh, well,
let's
I
move
guess
on.
that's fair. Should be going down, not up.
One other fight that we want to sort of break down for you guys before we hop into a lightning round for the rest of the card. In the women's flyweight division, the triumphant return of Tatiana Suarez, defeating Montana De La Rosa by submission via guillotine choke at 2 minutes 51 seconds of round number 2. Omar, start us off with this one. The return of Tatiana Suarez. She looks great. What you take?
Before we begin, how dare you, sir? Justice for my man Augusto Sakai. How dare you, sir?
Stop. Stop. The man lost four in a row, and he wins a fight by decision. Stop.
Let's go.
He's
He
next.
was the
He's
co-main
next.
event.
Yeah,
Who
but
cares?
he's in the lightning round. He ain't getting the spotlight that's
This
Suarez.
is terrible.
Are you
This is
like on
terrible.
the Sakai train here?
Because I picked him, absolutely.
He's just happy because he picked it. That's all.
Goddamn right. All right. Anyway, Tatiana Suarez. That was a great performance, especially considering she went up in weight. She had a little trouble with the takedowns in the first round against Montana. I think everybody was making a bigger deal out of it than it really was, for being wholly honest. Tatiana Suarez looked relatively dominant in there, I thought. By the time we got to the second round, she found the takedown, she found the control, and she slowly started to kind of work her and got her into a position where she ended up eating her alive. So Tatiana Suarez looked fantastic, man. She kind of looked as good as I thought she was going to look. I think she's going to be a real problem. She's talking about dropping down again, that the 125 was, I guess, just her return fight. So she'll be going down to 115. If she can make those cuts successfully, that's a real problem at that division. So
For sure.
it's a good fight.
Mark, you have been long awaiting the return of Suarez. Give us your take of how the fight went.
I have. Yeah, I mean, Montana battled, man. I'll say that for her. She didn't break at any point. She made Suarez work, but Suarez is just like glue. Yeah, she was maybe a little rusty. Some entries looked like they were maybe a little sluggish, but she settled in. And that finishing transition from underhooks to a front headlock to a guillotine was nasty. And even in that, Montana was battling, but that squeeze was tight, and it wasn't coming off. So a great finish for Tatiana in her return. Definitely the finish helped her announce herself, I would say, and it's awesome to see her back and winning again.
Absolutely. Sticking with you here, Mark, give us the name of who would be next for Suarez at women's flyweight.
So she said post-fight that this was a one-off and that she intends to return back down to 115, which is not what I've seen her say in some prior interviews. So I don't know when her mind changed here, but if she is going back down, I don't know how soon that Mackenzie Dern-Angela Hill fight is. So let's look if that's not for a long time, because I'm sure Suarez doesn't want to be sitting that long again. Ah, fuck, it's not till May. All right. I really wanted to say you see if Dern wins that fight and then go Suarez and Dern, because that sounds so fun. But I don't know. We'll see. If not that, I think the other option is you just go straight to Rose.
Wow. You go straight to Rose. Oh, my God. That's crazy.
I mean, she's already beat girls like Esparza. Like, she has already. I know it was a while ago, but she's done this already.
Whew. Omar, any other bright ideas for Suarez? What you would do with her next?
I mean, I think she called out Rose, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, did she? I didn't even see that.
I believe she did, and I like it. I like it a lot. Hopefully, it's more enjoyable than the Esparza Rose fight, but I like it a lot.
Okay. Want to mention anything about De La Rosa? No, let's just move on. We got a long episode.
I have no idea what Mike is saying. I can't even hear him anymore.
You can't hear me?
He said, "Is there anything else for De La Rosa if we want to pick anything for her?"
Oh no. Let's go to lightning.
Okay, lightning round. Mark and Omar will give their quickest lightning takes, a phrase perhaps or two, for the rest of these fights on this UFC Fight Night card. Let's begin with Omar's co-main event in the heavyweight division. Augusto Sakai gets back in the win column, decisioning Dontel Mays 30-27s across the board. Omar, go first.
Yes, sir. Augusto Sakai, reminding people he might be a gatekeeper, but he ain't losing to Dontel Mays. So that's all it is there. Let's go.
Yeah, he looked very calm and composed, which is not how he has looked recently. Those knees from the headlock position in round one were nasty. Let me say, though, Dontel Mays wasn't doing a fucking thing to try to escape that position. Like, at least drop to a knee if you can't get out. Don't just stand there and get kneed 100 times. But anyway, by round two, I thought Mays looked terribly slow. I think Sakai hanging on him in round one just drained anything he had. He had nothing left to offer. But, props to Sakai. He fought a smart fight. He didn't take any risks. He leaned on his strengths, and that's exactly what he needed to do at this point. He make sure you get a win, and he did.
Word. Okay, let's see. Fun one. Mike Malott in the welterweight division. Mike Malott submissions Johan Lainus.
Submissions?
I know. I'm trying to come up with new shit, man. He pulls off a nice arm triangle choke over Johan Lainus. I think I'm saying that name right. 4 minutes 15 seconds of round number one. Mark, go first.
Yeah, this was a good one. Both guys were tentative early. You could tell that they both respected the power But then once I'm saying it was a good one, not a good fight. I'm saying a good performance from Malott.
Oh yeah.
Because once he got the takedown, the pendulum in that fight swings drastically because he had a significant advantage down there. And, Lanez was defending well for a bit, but Malott just worked step by step to improve that position and then locks up a beautiful arm triangle that he made even tighter once he stepped to mount. So he looks like a pretty talented guy thus far through two fights.
Yeah, the top pressure from Malott, for him, I will say, seems wild. His top game looks like a real problem. If he can continuously be able to take guys down the way he did in this fight, he might get more than the submission that we saw tonight or Saturday night.
Hey, you guys are doing a great fucking job right now with this lightning round. This might be the most lightningest lightning round we've had in quite some time. Maybe since the first lightning round. Ever. Okay. Trevor Peek knocks Eric Gonzalez into next week at the very end of round number 1. Went down in the lightweight division. Omar, staying with you. Go first.
It was a competitive fight, and then Gonzalez got kind of dumb and started firefighting with Peek and did not win that firefight. They tossed a coin in the air. Peek ended up getting the heads on that and put Gonzalez out. And it was, I don't know where guys started throwing hammer fists as hooks and stuff now. Yeah. And it's hard for me to even talk shit about it because that's literally what he hit him with to put him out. So
yeah,
weird though, very weird.
Cyril Gahn did it when he finished Thai. Yeah, guys doing it more and more.
Mark, go.
Yeah, sometimes you hear guys described as like bar fighters, and you feel weird saying that. Like that, Trevor Peek was that guy. Like he just absolutely loads up, and Gonzalez was not the opponent to exploit that. But there are plenty of guys in the UFC who will exploit that. So we'll see how that goes. But Peek is an athlete. He's willing to bang. It seems like he's definitely a natural fighter, and that can always carry you a ways. I'm not sure that his takedown defense or at least clinch defense looks to be anything so great. But we're going to find out. And either way, gets the big debut win. That KO was rough. He put a beating on him at the end there.
Yeah, man. Okay. Jasmine Jasudavicius defeats Gabriela Fernandez by unanimous decision. Mark, take it.
I'll tell you what, Fernandez in her debut showed some really pretty striking. There's some potential there if someone can work with her and get the wrestling and the grappling up to a better point. Because that striking was legit, but Jasudavicius did a great job. She was just a dog, walked through what she had to get inside, repeatedly took her down, and on the mat it was not too competitive. So nice clear win for her.
Omar.
I believe Dominic Reyes was the one that said, or Dominic Cruz was the one that said it best, that she's eating those shots like cookies. Because that's exactly what it was like, man. She was eating big shots from Fernandez, but walking right through them. Didn't even look like it phased her. And on the ground, you could see that it almost, it was panic. It was panic from Fernandez. Like, she didn't really look like she knew what she was doing a lot of the time. And I think the more time went on when they were on the ground, I think the more panic, the more realized she was going to lose that fight. So it's great performance from Jasudavicius.
Okay, in the lightweight division, Jordan Levitt defeats Victor Martinez by TKO with some nasty knees in the clinch against the fence. 2 minutes, 27 seconds of round number 1. Omar, sticking with you. Take it.
Dog, you gotta know how to get out of the clinch. You can't just be there just taking knees like that. Like I love how he was blocking the body. Like, yeah, no, he won't hit me in the face. Like, it was a multitude of bad decisions from Victor Martinez. Just really bad. Good performance from Jordan Levitt. Bad performance from Victor Martinez. Jesus Christ.
Mark.
Jordan Levitt by KO, just like everyone figured. No. That was wild. Honestly, it was beautiful. Perfect job by him in that sequence. And he's showing some other aspects to his game. I would love to know what the odds were on a Jordan Levitt KO. I think everyone assumed he'd be finishing that thing on the mat. But good for him.
Mark, sticking with you. Ode Osborne split decision over Charles Johnson. Go.
Yeah, really thought Charles Johnson could take this matchup. he is a fighter who feels like he could be better if he was a little less flowy and stuck a little more to a game plan. Like, he's one of these guys that's very willing to just kind of move in there and talk in there, and I feel like sometimes he lets it get away from him because of that. And Osborne had a game plan that really leveraged his athleticism and his power and his ability to get in and out. And I still feel like, though Osborne maybe is not the better all-around fighter, that it didn't matter because he fought the better fight. So a nice win for him.
Omar.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think the problem for me with Charles Johnson, and I might be less lightning in this particular moment, but Charles Johnson to me looks good, man. Like, he has a lot of promise. My wife did want me to mention that she has 2 thumbs down for his haircut as a hairdresser. But he's got a lot of promise, man. He's got a lot of skill. He doesn't go first. And that, in this particular fight, was the big issue. He was letting Ode Osborne go first, tag him, not returning, not countering, trying to wait for a shot that eventually never really came. And it allowed Ode to do really what he wanted for a majority of that fight. Charles Johnson 100% has the tools to have beaten Ode Osborne in that fight. He 100% has the demeanor to beat him. Like, he wasn't scared. But he was tentative to shoot. He was tentative to find that shot. And I don't really know why. Like, he's got a lot of potential, but something there has to click. I hope he's already gotten rebooked, and we're going to go through that in the MMA sphere. So hopefully this one allows him to get into it, I guess.
Okay, lightweight division, Joe Solecki defeats Carl Deaton III, hope I'm saying that right, by technical submission via rear naked choke in the second round. Omar, keep going.
Dude, Joe Solecki is a beast. That seemed like a real mismatch. You want to talk about somebody who was panicked? Carl Deaton was panicked. There was so many submission attempts in the first round. Carl Deaton, to his credit, was able to survive. But in that second round, man, he did not want to tap. He knew he had 10 seconds left, but he went to sleep anyway. Poor guy, man.
Mark.
Yeah, I know Deaton was a late replacement. I can't remember who Solecki was supposed to be fighting, but either way, Joe Solecki is one hell of a fucking grappler. I mean, he fought such a clean fight. The back take that led to that sub was gorgeous, and he just snatches that choke after. You know, Deaton made him work for it a bit, but once he got it, it was in deep immediately. So a nice finish.
Yeah, man, props to Solecki, dude. Coming up 13-3 now. Okay, Mark, sticking with you. Last one, still in the lightweight division. Hope I'm saying his name right. Nurullo Aliyev defeats Rafael Alves by a majority decision. Take it.
Yeah, he's good, man. He is good. I didn't see him on Contender Series. I was hearing some people talk about him, saying that he was absolutely someone to watch. I like Alves. I always have. He's had some tough matchups in the UFC. That dude, Alves, is so quick. Great entries. He had his shot at a guillotine a couple times, which is one of his go-tos. But he couldn't get Aliyev out of there. Aliyev was able to get out of the guillotine. But he's good. He's very... I hate to use this because people like to use this. He's very Khabib-esque. He reminded me of him the way that he's not just an offensive grappler, but while you are on the ground, he is putting it on you. He's not one of these guys who will lay there, even the way Islam will kind of work and set it up. And Khabib was never like that, and that's how this dude fights. Like, he was trying to put it on you the whole time that he had control of Alves. And he lost a point for biting, which is an interesting one. But he was able to rebound it and make sure he got out of there to take the cards.
Yeah, it's interesting. He also has a similar nickname to Khabib. It's the Tajik Eagle.
Not only that, he fucking sounds just like Khabib. Did you hear the post-fight interview?
No.
I did not.
Dude, he sounds so much like him. It's wild. And they're not from the same place, obviously, but same part of the world, I guess. But,
well,
yeah.
What was once the Soviet Union, Tajikistan, part of it. Omar, take us home.
The bite was weird. It seems like Alves put his fingers in Aliyev's mouth, and I think that's where That's where Aliev was saying that the teeth marks came from, was from him like grabbing his mouth. Still very odd. Shouldn't be in the mouth at all to any extent.
23 years old, by the way. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah. I do believe that Alves got stuck in the issue that I thought he was going to, where he was just going to accept being on the bottom a little more than he should have against a guy like Aliev. And unless he got him out of there, the points were going to end up racking up for Aliev in the end. And I think that's really what happened.